2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Thirty seconds till broadcast. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Let me tell you, the response to the show has been absolutely amazing. People can't believe that a young conservative millennial continues to fight for constitutional principles, traditional values, and talks about issues that some are even afraid to talk about. But we do it because we understand the importance of this. And now we're seeing it absolutely blow up all across the nation.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Is it really a pre-Friday celebration today? I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it's a Thursday today. I'm still thinking it's like Monday or Tuesday. This week has been such a blur with so many weird, wild, crazy things going on today. It does not feel like a Thursday. Hey, welcome into the show. We have a big program lined up for you today. I have been getting so many messages from people asking what's going on, concerned about the vote for the presidency, worried about things. They're down. They're not feeling it. They're seeing the media try and call. We got to remember, when the media calls electoral states and electoral college votes, it doesn't mean they're official. That means that's the media's prediction. That's all it is. That's all it is. We have some good news for you today. Welcome into the show, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship station, all over the country on radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, also online at HooserReason.com. We are everywhere. Every social media site, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, on Parler.com, also on Minds.com. We have the live streaming on all of them. Plus, again, you can go to the website as well and find the online streaming at HooserReason.com. I have really good news for you today. I want to bring you up a little bit. I want to lift you up. That's my job. I am your millennial general. In fact, and I got to give credit to one of our listeners, listener Scott. It's awesome. I think we're going to have to coin this. So MAGA, instead of Make America Great Again, there's a new acronym for MAGA right here on this program. The Millennial Army General Andy. He coined it, and we already are the Millennial General, leading it. I like it. We may have to run with it. Welcome into the show. We have a lot to get to. Coming up at the bottom of the hour today, we have Julio Gonzalez. We've had him on the show a couple of times before. He is the founder of Engineered Tax Services, talking about different tax rates in the nation. We're going to bring him on to talk about the different tax brackets and the different tax plans that could be implemented between a Trump administration and a Biden administration. So we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. We have some more news, I guess, guess when it comes to some of the elections as the margins are narrowing between Trump and Arizona and Nevada. We have the legal cases that have been submitted and the courts looking at it and have approved some of the internal investigations into Pennsylvania right now. Rudy Giuliani made a statement earlier today talking about the insane amount of fraud that's going on in Pennsylvania. So we'll see what comes of that one. Plus, there has been a movement to try and stop some of the counting in the state of Michigan as they continue to count some weird shenanigans up there. So we'll try and keep you apprised of all of that. But I don't want to talk about all that right now because you've been hearing about it all day. And I'm sure your eyes are glazed over. You're a little frustrated right now. You see all the media continuously trying to bring you down. If that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for a Trump victory, they're trying to bring you down. And I made a prediction on social media last night. I was thinking about it actually as soon as I got done with the show. I was listening to the radio, I was driving home, and I was kind of deep in my thoughts, and I had some time to think. And I realized here's what's going to happen. Here's my prediction for the day. Is that the media, whether it's today, it could happen tonight, could happen while the show's going on right now. I'll have to check and see. What the media is going to try to do is they are going to find every excuse for it to be close enough. It's going to be 99% reporting in either Arizona or Nevada, one of these close states. They're going to say Biden's in the lead by 5,000 votes, 10,000 votes. They're going to call it. The media. Now, again, this is not the Electoral College. This is not the actual official numbers. These are the media people predicting what they're doing, and they're calling their numbers. It means nothing until the official ballots are cast. If I can speak today, it's not official until the official ballots are cast from the Electoral College. Outside of that, it means absolutely nothing. The media, however, is going to find it till about 99% reporting. They're going to say there's no way Trump can win it. They're going to call either Nevada or Arizona for Biden. It's going to push them over that 260 or 270 line, and they're going to claim victory for Joe Biden. It's going to poke us in the heart and really deflate all of us who are hoping for this. Now, don't be discouraged, because what they're going to do is, of course, the media who's been against Trump this entire time is going to use that opportunity to try and go after any Republican, any conservative, any Trump supporter that's trying to claim voter fraud, which is mass voter fraud all over the nation right now, which there's investigations opening up, again, all over the place right now. And I'm not going to go into the details because some of them are, I don't know, conspiratorial, quote unquote. Some of them are actually legit. So I'm not in a position to say which ones are right and which ones are not right. All I know is that there are legal suits being filed all over the place, which was expected. We knew this was going to be a dirty process going into it like 6 months ago when we talked about mail-in voter ballots and mail-in voter fraud. We knew this was going to happen. So don't be discouraged. But what's going to happen is the media is going to try to discourage you even more by claiming that Biden won, by calling either Arizona or Nevada for Biden, and then claiming that nice little checkpoint of pushing him over that 270 line. Then what's going to happen is while the litigation's ongoing, which obviously, as you know, internal, working very, very hard. We talked with a RNC spokesman yesterday talking about the litigation going on, talking about the numbers that are coming in, talking about the absentee ballots, about some of the mail-in voter fraud that's potentially happening with some coming in postmarked after Election Day. Some very strange things going on. While all that's going on in the background that the media won't report on, to the media's eyes and to the mass general public's eyes, the misinformation voter right now, they're going to say, well, the election's done. The media called it. Joe Biden won. Everything's all hunky-dory. They'll forget about it. They click that switch and it's all over. Any conversation thereafter is then going to be accusatory of conspiracy, and it's not true, and trying to be dismissed, and Donald Trump just doesn't want to leave power and is a tyrant, and he's trying to stay in office, and it's going to be all these accusations of Donald Trump and MAGA supporters. But don't fall for it. It's going to be all right because the litigation's still ongoing and we're not going to know for a while here. So we still have some time. It's frustrating. It's disheartening. I get it. I know, but stay firm. But we have some good news today because I don't want it to be all about that. Again, you've heard this all day long. What I do want to talk to you about for a second is the fact that we have some really, really good things going on. Outside of the presidential race, we did very well as Republicans on Tuesday, didn't we? We had a really good day. The U.S. Senate is still going to be in Republican control. Maybe not as wide of a margin, but still Republican control. We narrowed the gap in the House of Representatives to really about only a 5-vote margin for the House of Representatives. So Democrats still have control. But number one, the headline came up on Drudge Report today where they're looking to try and do a coup against Nancy Pelosi to boot her out and get somebody else in as Speaker of the House. Still a Democrat, but someone who maybe we can work with a little bit. And it's not going to be such a radical like Nancy Pelosi, who feels like she can control everything. And by the way, with a 5-vote margin, there are at least 5 Republicans or 5 Democrats that we could sway over to our side on certain issues to actually be able to work with. So if that's the case, we could actually be getting some things out of the House of Representatives that's somewhat reasonable. The AOC mentality, the AOC plus 3 or the B squad or whatever the heck you want to call them, they're going to be limited on what they're going to do because they're going to be the fringe on the one side of the Democrat Party. The other side's going to be kind of sort of in the middle. And with Republicans having a louder voice, we can actually work a little bit better. With a majority in the Senate, we'll be able to work together as well. And it's going to be less of the craziness going to the president's desk for whoever ends up getting into the White House. Let's take it a step further, shall we? Even more good news. Outside of the federal government, do you realize what the states did on Tuesday? Individual state races. The state legislators, the governor's races. We dominated as Republicans. Domination. We did so well at and Republicans historically do, but this year we did even better than what we were projected to do at these state levels. Even the media couldn't deny it. One headline, Democrats' down ballot misery continues with state legislative battles. The state of New Hampshire went all Republican in both their state house and their state Senate, along with already having a Republican governor. They went completely control for Republicans in the state of New Hampshire, which brings up some questions that we'll get to in here in just a second. At the same time, Arizona state house still outstanding and could be some Democrat pickups there, but not as long of a margin as what they're anticipating. It's kind of weird how Democrats are doing somewhat okay, but then Republicans are doing somewhat okay, and places where Republicans are doing really, really well, but then Joe Biden ended up winning. It raises some questions. We'll get to that in a second. If tracks with Democrats' underperformance down the entire ballot, Democrat Joe Biden still had a path to win the presidency, but Democrats' chances of taking a Senate majority and narrowing it is almost none, according to the story, and Democrats will keep their majority in the House. The battle for state legislatures were historically static. If you have to go back to the 1940s to find an election where so few chambers flipped parties, according to the executive director of Nonpartisan National Conference of State Legislatures. On average, an election day would bring about 10 chambers flipped. This time, it could be just 2. Everybody else maintained. And by the way, they went to the Republicans. Right now, overwhelmingly across the nation, 3/4 of all the state legislatures in the nation are Republican. What does that mean? Number one, it means that the states might, maybe, hopefully, have an opportunity to fight for more states' rights. The 10th Amendment, what's not delegated to the federal government specifically under the U.S. Constitution, means that we get to default back to states' rights, meaning many states can start blocking some of the administration. Let's just say, worst case scenario, Joe Biden is the president of the United States. The states can come back and say, we're not going to abide by it because we're going to hold on to our states' rights and we're not going to go along with whatever agenda that you have. If you try to sign an executive order on gun control, we're not going to abide by it because we are a state and we're going to abide by the Second Amendment, and that's that, and they can fight it. If they try to pass some more social programs, they don't have to buy into them with the whole socialist expansion of social programs. They don't have to. We can fight it, and we can do that with the state. Remember, politics is most powerful at the local level. Your city council, your county commission, your state legislators. And if the state legislators and the governorships are Republican, then hopefully they'll be able to start fighting back on some of the agenda from the left side of the aisle that's happening from the mass expansion of the never-ending federal government and centralized federal government. We have an opportunity to do some really, really good things here. So your positive news for the day is that, you know what, we may not have got the results of what we wanted to see at the federal level yet, but the states are doing well. We're going to win the states. And because we're going to win the states, we can work together as the states to fight against the centralized government bureaucracy that we've been working so hard to try and counter. And with more encouragement, you usually stand a little bit more higher, a little bit prouder, a little bit more confident when you have a crowd behind you standing with you. That's going to be the same for the states. If the states are the loners out there trying to do it individually, we usually don't go very far. We usually cower to the federal government. They threaten to pull funding on this program. They threaten to increase regulation on this industry. They threaten to herd off trade on this industry. Whenever they try to, the federal government are the ultimate mobsters, wanting to bully the states and the industries and the trade and the agriculture and the whatever else you have in your state at the federal level. They do whatever they can to bully you. But if more states begin to stand up then we have an opportunity to get some of our rights back at the state level, which is the way it's supposed to be, right? So what we're supposed to do. The second part is it really raises concerns. We have, according to the media, Joe Biden has received more votes than any other president in history. He broke the record for the most amount of votes for a presidency in U.S. history. Does anybody actually believe that? Honestly, truly, does anybody actually believe that? Is it the excitement for Joe Biden or the people despising Donald Trump that terribly much that we had a record turnout, and it was a record turnout for someone like Joe Biden who doesn't even remember what the color red is? Does anybody truly, honestly believe that? Give me a break. Even if it was against Donald Trump, they'd be voting third party. Even if it was against Donald Trump, it would be not in the fashion of voting for Joe Biden. Something fishy's going on there. And why is it that the down ballot tickets all went Republican majoritively all over the country, but all of a sudden Joe Biden comes out with a victory in some of these states that went red at their state legislative levels? Do you think they voted for Joe Biden and then flipped over to vote red the rest of the way down? Or do you think they just went in there for one cause to vote for only the presidential race? We'll talk about that when we come back. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at Hoosier.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hoosier Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hoosier Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today on a Thursday, the pre-Friday celebration. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, wherever you may be watching, listening. We appreciate you very much. Trying to cram that 10 pounds reason into that 5-pound bag. Trying to rebrand it the Millennial Generation, one radio listener at a time. The Millennial General reporting for duty. I love it. Appreciate you hanging out with us today. So, good news. As we continue to win the states at the statewide level, the state legislatures, allowing Republicans to try and fight back against the centralized government, which is very good news. Now, the big question is, why do you think that Joe Biden is, quote-unquote, winning the election at the federal level for president, but yet he is losing when it comes to Democrats on the down-ticket ballots? How does that make any sense? I mean, again, the media said that the Democrats are going to win like 58 or 56 votes in the U.S. Senate. They said they were going to almost double the amount of control they had in the U.S. House of Representatives. It was going to be a massive blue tsunami. That's what the media and the pundits have been telling us for the last 6 months. And what happened, we still have majority of the U.S. Senate. We narrowed the Democrats' majority to about 5 or 6 votes in the House. And the presidency's up in the air. It is that close. Now, when the fraud all comes out, and hopefully we can find it, and hopefully we can do the litigation, and then we have the Supreme Court, and hopefully we can still have a President Donald Trump administration. But regardless of all that, my big question is, why is it that Joe Biden is doing so well with breaking the record for the most amount of votes a presidential candidate has ever received in U.S. history, but yet the down-ticket ballots, Republicans are winning? How does that make any sense? To me, at least, just using, I don't know, my common sense-anality here, we just created our own very voice of reason word, our common sense-anality. We're going to use our common sense-anality. Tells me that there are people that went to the ballot box to vote for one particular candidate. They left the rest of it blank, didn't vote for anything else but the presidential ticket, and they voted for Joe Biden. Now, why would that happen? Either number one, they didn't care about any of the race, which there are some people that do that. I don't think that many, but there are some people that do that. That just say, you know what, that's the only one I care about. I don't care about the Senate. I don't care about the governor's race. I don't care about the state legislature. I really don't care about my county commission or my city council. I don't know those guys. I don't follow politics. Doesn't bother me. There are some, but I would say that is a very, very small percentage. Because if the presidential race means that much to you, then usually the Senate or the House means that much to you as well. So you would usually vote for the same there. If Joe Biden broke records with the most amount of votes that any presidential candidate has ever received, and by the way, has about a 3 million vote majority on the popular vote compared to Donald Trump, then why didn't Democrats do well on the down ticket? Either they don't care, maybe there's some fraud in there as well, to where they only could do the fraudulent one little vote just for the presidential run and have it be done. Or I don't know, maybe there's just one ballot on the ticket, or one ticket on the ballot. I don't know. I don't know why they would think that that's the only issue that's concerning to them, so they only vote for one person. To me, that opens up the door, and that's a big red flag, saying that maybe there's a lot of potential voter fraud going on if they literally only filled out one little box on the ballot when there's an entire 2-sheet page of it, and then they sent it in with only one thing filled out. Because I guess you could have those that just, they're Republicans that despise Donald Trump so terribly much, they voted for Joe Biden and then flipped and voted red across the board. But again, that makes zero sense, does it? My common sense-anality radar is triggering here, saying, wait a second, that just doesn't make any sense. Because if you want Joe Biden to be president, then why wouldn't you vote for at least a Democrat in the Senate or a Democrat in the House of Representatives in order to have a Democrat majority, in order for the Joe Biden administration to implement the agenda that they want to implement? That would be the common sense way to do things. But I don't know. To me, it just raises a lot of questions. Why would Joe Biden break records for the presidential bid, but yet Republicans did so well at the legislative levels all over the states, all over the country? Maybe I'm looking into it too much, but to me, something just doesn't seem right, which to me opens up that opportunity for potential scams, potential frauds. We need to look a little bit deeper to understand what's really going on. And the media, of course, they're not going to cover any of that. Oh, it's just nothing different there. Republicans always win at the local and statewide levels. Democrats only care about one race, and that's the presidency. If that's the case, then, man, they're not really involved, and should they really be voting? When we come back, Julio Gonzalez will be joining us here on the show. Stay tuned.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
when reason meets radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
That you are. Welcome into the Voice of Reason on a pre-Friday celebration. Great to have you along for the ride today. Radio, TV, live, streaming, podcasting, doesn't matter where you're at. It's a weird day, man. I've been kind of in a funk all day trying to get through. It's been odd. I've been so focused in on this election and the numbers and the media and everything, and it's just kind of warped my mind over the last couple of days. And then trying to talk to everybody internally on the inside context that we have and trying to see what's going on, which it sounds promising. It sounds like there's good stuff going on. It's just we have to be patient, and I'm not a patient guy. I want it, and I want it right now. But that's not the way it works because we're adults, right? Welcome back into the show. Thanks for hanging out with us today. By the way, if you have yet to do so, make sure to visit us online at HooserReason.com. You can sign up for the newsletter by becoming a Hooserholic. Oh, yeah. And we'll send you that newsletter coming up this weekend. Hopefully, we'll have a little bit better idea what's going on so we can properly form our blog and our monthly blog and monthly survey and our topical issues on the website there as well, appropriately based on the response. So you can go to HooserReason.com and become a Hooserholic. Sign up for that monthly newsletter. I've heard rumor that our Facebook Live feed is frozen. Not sure why. So if you were watching on there, you can go to our YouTube page. You can just search in the Hoosier Reason on YouTube and subscribe there, which we've been working to try and get people that way anyways. Or you can just watch our live streaming online at HooserReason.com. Anyways, I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about some of the upcoming current trending events.
What's trending today?
What's trending today is no one knows what the heck's going on with the presidential campaigns as we try and sit back and wait impatiently. And I wanted to bring on a guy. He's a great guest. We've had him on the program here before, but he is the founder of Engineered Tax Services. He is our tax reform specialist right here on the program, Julio Gonzalez, hanging out with us here on the show. Julio, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you again. It is a crazy time. I guess it's not unexpected. I mean, 2020's just been kind of an odd year already. And we knew this was going to happen with the mail-in ballots, didn't we? I mean, we called this 6 months ago.
No question about it. I mean, you called it and you were right on it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Let's talk about the differences with these administrations and just with the makeup of Congress now. It looks like Republicans are going to maintain control of the Senate. It looks like the House is going to stay in Democrat control, but it looks like the margin has been narrowed a lot compared to what it was before. When it comes to taxes, when it comes to spending, when it comes to the budget of the federal government, what could we potentially be looking at depending on which administration is going to take over here in a couple of weeks?
Hey, the best news is that there's no chance that we'll have, any tax reform of any, substantial kind because, that the fact that we held the Senate, and that's really due to the president, right? People came out now and kept the Senate into the Republican numbers. So, when you change tax law, you have to go through the House and then to the Senate, and there's no way the Senate's going to pass any major tax reform. So, good thing is, and kudos to President Trump, people came out for him, and they kept the Senate because of him in place so that we have a majority there. And so with that in place, no way that the House can get anything passed through the Senate, and that's great news. So you might see a little bit of compromise. You might see a little bit of stimulus bills. You may see some innovation credits and things like that, but there will be no major tax overhaul because really, for the stars to align on tax reform, you have to have all parties in the House, Senate, and administration that are all the same kind. That's why we only have tax reform every 30 years.
Yeah. That's really good news. I mean, at least we're going to, I will still be in a little bit of gridlock if Democrats control the House and Republicans control the Senate, but maybe we can actually get something done. Now, I've heard the rumors, and the story came out as well today about Nancy Pelosi possibly being booted as Speaker of the House, even with the Democrat majority control, because they want a different speaker. Is that true, and would that change the dynamic in the House as well when it comes to some of the spending projects?
Well, I think it's true. I think they want someone far, far more on the left to take over that seat, and I just don't think they feel that she has that ability to do so. But look, fortunately, again, whatever they want to do in Congress, in the House, it's never going to get past the Senate. Thank goodness we held Senate, right? Because no matter what they do, Biden's tax plan, he wants to double the tax rates, tax the rich, repeal tax reform. That's not going to get done. And anything they want to do in the House, whoever is their leader, not going to make any difference because we have the Senate. We have the way to block it.
Yeah, that would be really good news. Now, you mentioned that they're going to try and get someone more progressive. If we narrowed the gap of Republicans in the House and we actually have more Republicans than we did last time, do you think they'd want to try and get someone a little bit more moderate to have better conversations, or are they just that adamant that they want socialist progressives to be running the House of Representatives?
It feels like the latter. It really
Wow.
does. And that's, a horrible sign for all of us. And, for taxes, for liberties, for safety, for protection, for defense, and all those reasons, right? They don't want borders, right? And they want high taxes, and they want us to be a socialist country. We as Latinos here in Florida moved from Cuba to get away from that, but, it's staring us in the face. But that's why we came out for Trump this year and, voted for him here in Florida, and we had a good turnout.
Yeah, you guys had a huge turnout for President Trump, and the Democrats are absolutely speechless about it. There's a headline today as well about the catastrophic erosion in the Hispanic community for support against the Democrats, and they don't know why and where that came from. I mean, Donald Trump rallied really hard in Miami, really hard in that community, and the numbers, obviously Miami still went to Joe Biden, but the numbers were vastly different than what we've seen in the past. Do you think this is a one-time thing for the Hispanic Cuban population in Florida, or is this going to be a long-term thing now that they're starting to realize what the Democrats are doing?
There's no doubt that it's a long-term change. I think the education finally came across, and we understood that Democrats don't necessarily mean democracy. When we come from Venezuela, when we come from Cuba, we see Democrat, we think democracy, we see Republican, we think Republican nation. So, we come here kind of with a skewed opinion just because of the terms. But no doubt that the administration, the RNC, did a tremendous job educating our communities on the fact that what the Republicans really stand for is freedom, economic freedom, most importantly, which is what we're seeking, religious freedom. That's really key to us, no matter if you're Hispanic, Cuban, Venezuelan, Mexican. Those are things that are important for us. Having us come here legal and protecting us from the people that come here illegal. All those things are super important to us, and I think that will carry on.
I love it. We're talking with Julio Gonzalez, the founder of Engineered Tax Services, also about the vote down in Florida. It's funny, I was talking to a progressive earlier today in person, and I had made the comment that, the Hispanic vote went towards Donald Trump, and he had progressed to tell me that they need to, again, remind the Hispanic population and re-educate them about the Democrats because they're voting for the same thing that they just came from Cuba when they vote for someone like Donald Trump because he's the fascist, he's the tyrant, and they got away from a tyrant, and now they're voting for a tyrant again when they should be voting for a Democrat because the Democrats are really looking out for them. He tried to tell me all this, and it baffled my mind with the mentality of we know better than what you know, so therefore you just need to vote for us because we're going to take care of you and we know better for you than what you do. I don't understand that concept.
Well, listen, we didn't come to the country for handouts. We came here for hand-ups, and there's no doubt that the message of the Republican Party and what President Trump has done for us since 2016, lower our income taxes, give us the lowest unemployment we've ever had, give us jobs, protect our jobs, give us the freedom religiously as well. I mean, all those things resonate well with us, and I don't think that we think anything nearly helpful in terms of, Biden and that party.
Yeah.
We don't see that. That reminds us where we left.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. We got a few minutes left before we have to let you go here. Let's talk about some of the tax rates. So not at the federal level, but down at the states. I just, in the last segment, had talked about the states. Overall, outside of the federal government, Republicans did extremely well all across the nation. We still hold about 3/4 of the majority of governorships and state legislatures across the nation as Republicans because Republicans do so well on down ballot tickets. I don't understand when the media says that Joe Biden received more votes than any presidential candidate in the history of this nation and how all the momentum's over in Joe Biden, but yet Republicans win the state legislatures and the state houses and state senates. We still have a majority in the state governorships. With those mindsets, with the states going farther to the right, does that mean that we could see states actually try and lower some state taxes and try and relieve some tax burden at the state level in preparation for what could happen at the federal level?
There's no question about it. I mean, we saw in this election there were a lot of state tax issues on the ballots in every state, and almost all of them failed. All of them almost failed, and that tremendous news. They failed in Illinois, even though we know how far left that is. failed in California, so the voters came out 52 to 48% to not increase taxes, and but they failed all over the country, and that's tremendous news. And I think that's why you're seeing that big turn to the governors and a more, Republican state of issues here with the states, because, look, we can't survive in New York, we can't survive in California, we can't survive in New Jersey. Look, they've increased the taxes in those states 98 times in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
So who can afford that there? The deficits are getting bigger there because they can't manage the state budgets. And so they keep looking for other taxes. And the people that can pay taxes leave to the states where it's much more easy to live lower taxes, right? So, I think as those deficits increase and the senators and the congressmen from those states that are so liberal that don't want businesses to come to their communities to create jobs, well, then you're going to see those populations leave and understand they're going to go to a state with governorship that has an opportunity for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're seeing it all over the country with people migrating out of those high-tax states into better areas and better opportunities for themselves. It's Julio Gonzalez, the founder of Engineered Tax Services. You can find him all over media, as well as he's a great guest for a lot of different media pundits. Julio, we appreciate the time, my friend. It's always good to talk to you. We got to get you back on here again real soon.
Thank you so much.
Hey, always a pleasure right there. That's Julio Gonzalez. We appreciate his time very, very much. We'll take a break. When we come back, we got one segment left. We'll get your thoughts on the opportunities, the good news that we have in this nation, the states actually turning farther to the right. Even if we have a Joe Biden administration, we have the U.S. Senate, we have a better margin in the House, and we have the states to be able to block a lot of this. Plus, the U.S. Supreme Court out there as well. We got a lot to get to, and we'll get to it right here on The Voice of Reason. Stay tuned.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Is it really that time already? It's already the last segment of the show. Hey, welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today. It really does sometimes boggle my mind. It baffles me. Mind blown. When it comes to trying to understand the mind of a left side of the aisle progressive individual. For instance, as we talk about the Hispanic vote in this nation, as we mentioned, the Hispanic vote went overwhelming, more so to Donald Trump and the Republicans than it has ever done in before, ever. And the Democrats are losing their minds over it. And the conversation that I had earlier today, it is true. When we talked about it, oh, you know what? They don't know what they're voting for. We have to remind them that they're voting for the same thing that they just ran away with when it comes to tyranny and to tyrants and dictators, because that's what. Now, they ran away from socialism, where they're eating zoo animals in many of these countries because there's no food, there's no health care, there's no doctors, there's no medicine, there's no food, there's no toilet paper, there's no clothes, there's 1950s cars. It's garbage because of socialism. These prospering Central American nations that used to do very, very well. And then socialism came in and wiped it all out. They fled that. They came to the United States. And then they say, wow, look at what's happening here. We see a Bernie Sanders. We see an AOC. We see all these different politicians that are advocating to take away your guns, try and implement socialism, try and tax the rich, try and centralize the government, try and create government education. And then they have the audacity on the left side of the aisle to say, you don't know what you're voting for. We need to re-educate you and remind you that you're going to vote for Republicans. That's a vote for the same thing you just came from. It really is wild to me how so many individuals are so, I mean, that is the mindset of the slavery, the plantation owner, right? You don't want freedom. You already have freedom. These aren't the droids you're looking for. You already have freedom. Why don't you just continue to vote this way? We'll take care of you. We'll take care of everything you need. All you have to do is allow us to be in charge still. That's literally the plantation mindset. And you know the craziest part about it? It was a minority person that ended up telling me this story about the Hispanic vote. The ones that, you know, we know better than you. We know better than you when you want to go and vote. You shouldn't vote for that person, because if you do, then you're voting against your own best interest. So you should vote this way because we know better how to take care of you. We know better for you than what you know for you. It was a minority individual that said this. It is, how can we help people get off the plantation, so to speak. Get away from the servitude, so to speak. Make you think for yourself and say, wow, I saw them take away the guns, raise the taxes, get rid of health care, centralize the government, centralize the education system, tax everybody to death, increase the regulation, and allow the government to control everything. I don't want to do that again. I want to vote for the group that tries to fight against that stuff. Oh, you're voting against your own interests. What? Excuse me? And then they try to say, well, that's not socialism like Hitler. But wait a second, Hitler ran into the National Socialist Party, didn't he? Well, yeah, no, not really. That's a different kind of socialism. I mean, we're talking about democratic socialism where we voted in rather than it being forced upon us, and then we can feel really good about it because there's like balloons and there's confetti that comes down and everybody sings God Bless America while they take away the freedom. It's totally different. Oh, man, I just don't understand it. So the catastrophic, according to the media, the catastrophic erosion of the Hispanic vote for the Republicans this year, because it wasn't just for Trump, by the way. It was Republican candidates that were Hispanic. It was conservative candidates that the Hispanic population supported and voted for. They went conservative more so than any other time in American history for the Latino votes. And it was awesome to see because I think it was a great success from the Republican National Convention when they talked about the success of the minorities from blacks and Hispanics and Asians and whoever else. Look at the opportunity you have here. Look at the ones who are supporting your small business. Look at how you were able to start this small business and what you were able to do with this small business and the opportunities you had because of limited government, conservative, free market values. And you were able to start, and everybody loved it. But then the Democrats, you don't know what you're talking about. You're not voting in your best interest because you just need to be over here with us. We tell you what to do. You listen to us. I've never understood that mindset. And the fact that people still fall for it is really sad and unfortunate all across the nation, isn't it? But you know what? We're starting to break that mold. We are doing well, which is why, again, while we see the Hispanic vote went to Trump majoritively, while we saw the black vote go to Trump more so than it's ever had before, while we saw energy with thousands of people showing up at rallies all the time, all of a sudden Joe Biden's the one that has a rally that has the votes for the record-shattering most amount of votes that any candidate has had in American history. Something doesn't add up. Things don't seem the way they are. One of these things is not like the other. So we'll continue to trend it. Until then, we have good news all across the nation, and we'll continue to report that right here on the show. And until then, tomorrow, we got another great guest. We got another great show. We got more stuff to talk about, and we'll do it then. Until then, be your own voice of reason. It's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason, as this is the voice of reason. Everybody have a wonderful Thursday afternoon. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.